name's Aminah Ghaffar-Fulp, and I'm the Policy Director with 7 Directions of Service. And today we have a special guest with us, Quannah ChasingHorse.
Hi, I'm Quannah ChasingHorse. I'm 23 years old. I'm Honguchin from Eagle Village, Alaska, and Ogallala and Sicangu Lakota from the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. I am a land protector, a model, and an advocate.
We wanted to just have a conversation with you about your environmental justice journey and what are some activities or what are some things that you're working on for your community in Alaska right now?
Well, we're learning to unpack the trauma that we have experienced throughout history, from, our land being stolen to how that links to MMIW, how that links to, the environmental impacts, how that links to the suicide rates. Like, everything is so interconnected.
And I think regardless of where you come from in Native country, like, we have that shared history of forced removal,
Displacement,
forced assimilation, and all those things. And so a little bit about what we're doing here in North Carolina with 7 Directions of Service. One of the things that the East Coast is being lit up with right now is AI data centers.
Yes. And if you look at, whether it's drilling for oil to mining to AI data centers and what that will do environmentally, it also brings so much space and room to welcome violence.
There's been studies that have been published about how there is an increased rate of violence against Indigenous women when there's the oil man camps are placed in those Indigenous communities when they're laying down the pipelines.
As you said, man camps, because what happens to our land is what happens to our women.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. My aunt was murdered by a white man, and she didn't get the justice she deserved.
Yeah.
She was labeled a bad victim. That is literally what they told our family, that she was a bad victim because she's a Native woman who was struggling.
We see that so much here. There was a case in, I can't remember what year it was, like 2015. There was 3 women that were found dead in Lumberton. The 3rd victim was found a week later because she talked to the news. But the media did a horrendous job portraying them, and they portrayed them as drug-addicted prostitutes. And so when you portray people like that in the media, people don't care. But those people are...
they're not worthy.
Their aunts, their sisters, their moms.
Their grandmas even sometimes, and that was so devastating for our family and for my aunt to not receive justice, and for a man to literally murder a woman, murder a person, to only get 7 years. But a man shot the pipeline and he got like 15, 20 years. But because she was a Native woman, she was a bad victim. She didn't get the justice she deserved, and she was less than the value of oil and gas to this country, to this system. And so that is why I do the work that I do. That is why I talk about MMIW and how it relates to oil and gas and the impacts that it has environmentally.
And I think another part of this fight is also being more in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters, being more in solidarity with our Latinx brothers and sisters, because even what's happening right now with the ICE raids. So I think there's a lot to be said about having solidarity and recognizing that this environmental justice fight is for all of us.
The more people can get involved, the more that they can take part in this, the more that people will be inspired to do the work, to unlearn the things that is being taught in this country, to relearn the truth, to understand, okay, now that I know what's going on, how can I be a good ally, and what can I do to support these people without taking up the space that I don't need? Because at the end of the day, a lot of those people are not being directly impacted.
Right.
They can go home and sit in their comfy AC and
in their suburban home. Yeah.
When we have to go home and, back home we got dirt roads and, not much. But we're rich in our culture. We're rich in our traditions. We're rich in meat.
Moose meat.
Moose meat. But the joy and the beauty in our communities, people only want to hear and talk about the most devastating things. And as much as there is a lot of that, some of the people that I grew up with, including my own family, that has gone through some of the worst things, are the funniest, most loving, and kind people ever. And so I think, helping remind each other that, like, yes, we have a lot of trauma to unpack, but we still move in this world in a good way.
With a great sense of humor.
Great sense of humor. We're probably some of the funniest people you'll ever
We're
meet.
pretty funny. Yeah.
Pretty funny. And we earned it.
We did.
We earned it.
Yeah, we earned those laughs.
And we're still strong in all of the things that were almost taken away from us.
Thank you all for tuning in. And my big takeaway from this conversation is just spread good medicine. Be a good person. Be a good community member. Show up.
Ancestor.
And thank you again.